talking about, how I felt the day that I got the news, but I'm sure how I felt was nowhere near what you felt. And plus, you were out of the country too, right?
Yeah.
You guys had just you were on vacation, just gotten back.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure hearing that kind of news was like crazy for you to get back in the States and hear that.
Yeah, I was actually, I was in Europe. I was actually in Switzerland when I got the news that my dad was actually on life support, and that I needed to be making my way back to the States immediately. And so I was in Switzerland, and the next day I was supposed to be going to Paris. And luckily, I think there was like some weather issues going on or something like that. And so, the way that God works, I actually received an email from the airline asking if I wanted to change my flight to leave out earlier.
Wow.
And so I didn't have to pay to change my flight to leave earlier or anything like that. So I was able to change my flight and actually catch the next flight out back to the States.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your dad first of all. Some memories of, some great memories, because we do have some great memories of him. He was a comedian, always cracking jokes and making everybody laugh. And so I just wonder, do you think that was a cover up, some of the jokiness that he was doing? I mean, did you see signs of like depression and mental illness as you were growing up with him?
So, everybody who knew my dad would say he was the jokester of the family. He was the person on the dance floor, always making people laugh.
Singing,
He just had a very bright and very vibrant personality. Was always just trying to make people laugh, and that was what he was known for. That was just my dad. But he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I want to say maybe in 2014, 2015. And as you are being treated for prostate cancer, and I didn't learn this until afterwards, but as a part of his treatment for the prostate cancer, he went through hormone therapy to suppress the prostate. And so as the side effect of the hormone therapy is depression. So mental illness does run in my family on my dad's side with my grandfather. With his mother's side. His mother, my grandmother, she struggled with postpartum depression, and I know one of my aunts also struggles with depression as well. And so just having that family history, and then also going through the hormone therapy for treatment for the prostate cancer, I think the combination of those things really just started to weigh down on him, and that is when I could start to see the deterioration.
Okay. All right. So he was on some type of medication. What medication he was on?
It was just the hormone therapy as a part of his treatment that he was going through that was
Okay.
causing these side effects.
Okay. All right. And so then what signs did you start seeing with him, the changes?
And so it was kind of like a gradual change almost. So it was kind of like you start to see him sad and maybe a little moody, and then just being extremely lethargic, just constantly sleeping in for the whole day, or just not really motivated to do anything, not wanting to really leave the house or engage with family. And my dad used to be a huge family man, so not wanting to go around and visit family and things like that. It just started to become, it was just very gradual. And then I'd say maybe within the last year of his life, things really intensified, where it was almost like he started to have mood swings, and he would become very angry, he would become very aggressive. And mental illness for me and my family is something new. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't have the words for it. I didn't know that it was depression. I didn't know what he was going through. I didn't know what to call it until it was too late.
Okay. And so then, so the day, like I said, when it happened, you got back into the States, and you went to the hospital, and you saw your dad like he was, and I'm sure all that was just had to be so hard on not just you, but your brother and your grandfather, your pawpaw, everybody was just I mean, just like unbelievable. This is unbelievable,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, by the time I finally made it back to the States, my entire family was already in Charlotte and was at the hospital. And so, you know, they had kind of already talked through things and was in the midst of everything. And so I was walking into it just like, I don't know, just really thrown off completely. And then just to go into the hospital room and just to see him so helpless, it really set in, like, the magnitude of what he did, to be quite honest. And I remember, I think it was my mom or somebody may have asked me, like, so what do you want to do? What do you think? Because he was on life support at this time. But
right.
because my dad hung himself. And so he had been
Right.
without oxygen for such an extended period of time that he was basically brain dead. And so the only thing that was keeping him alive was the life support, was the breathing machines. And so someone asked me, like, well, what do you think? Should we keep him on life support? Should we take him off? And for me, I know it came off harsh to some people, but I was like, take him off life support. I mean,
Right.
to me, it was a no-brainer, because I feel like keeping him on life support was a very selfish move. Also, and I don't know if you know this, but that wasn't his first attempt at trying to take his life either. And so for someone who felt that heavy and didn't want to be on this earth, even walking on their own 2 feet, well, my goodness, they wouldn't want to be on this earth with someone having to take care of them.
Hello, like a vegetable is right. Exactly.
He wouldn't have wanted that, and I know my dad. I know
Exactly.
he wouldn't have wanted that. So I didn't want him to have to go through this any longer. And so for me, it was just a no-brainer.
Right.
Let's just take him off life support. Let's give him what he wants.
Right. Yes, exactly. And I know that's what, when I was talking to my brother doing this process too, that was the same thing he was thinking too. He goes, I don't want to see my son. This is my only son.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's hard for me to let him go. He goes, but I'm like, he's already gone. I mean, he's brain, you know, there was no brain activity. There was nothing there. And so he had came to that point too. It's like, I got to just let him go.
Yeah.
Just let him go. Because I know he doesn't want to be here for somebody to take care of him. And again, like you said, and he doesn't want to be here.
Right. And it was a very tough decision for our family. But keeping him on life support would have been a selfish decision.
Right.
And you know, I know as a Christian coming from a family that is extremely religious, I know that God has the last say so, and I know that God is able to work miracles. But in terms of allowing my dad to continue to go through this pain, I just couldn't do that. And I know there's people who have been on life support and have been able to make it through. But he was so dependent on the life support that even when they took him off, he passed away immediately. So that just shows you how dependent he was on it. Because, you know, there's sometimes you take people off life support and they can last a few hours, a few days, a few weeks. But he was so dependent on it that literally, as soon as they took the machines off, it was like instant.
Yeah, he was gone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the counseling, let's talk about you and Ashan, your brother Ashan.
Yes.
How old is Ashan now?
Ashan is 16, so we're 10 years apart.
16.
Exactly.
Yeah. 16 years old. Yeah, there was a big age gap between the two of you because
Yeah.
I thought Amaya is the only child. She's going to be an only child. And here we come later, years later, Ashan.
Yep.
So he's an amazing young man,
Yes.
Looking so much like strikingly like his father,
Yep.
you know, height and the leanness of his
Yep.
body. I'm like, oh my God, if he doesn't look like Brad.
Yep.
Yeah. But he's doing amazing. You know, I mean, grade wise. I mean, I saw your mom posted his report card yesterday. I mean, just amazing
Yep.
what he's doing. So yeah, let's talk about how he's doing, dealing with your father's passing.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
I mean, and even before my dad had passed, I was living in DC as well. So I
That's right.
relocated to Charlotte and was looking for jobs elsewhere. I was actually getting ready to take a job. I'm trying to decide between Texas and Florida. And once this all came about, I was just like, you know what, I can't go anywhere. My brother was actually just starting high school. That fall, he would have been starting high school. And so I didn't want to just up and leave my family. I knew it was the best thing for me was to stay in Charlotte. And so as a benefit of my dad's life insurance policy, we were able to get free sessions for grief counseling. And so we took that up immediately. And then also the hospital, they had, I guess like a social worker that was able to come in and to talk with us and kind of let us know ahead of time what was going to happen, how we can expect things to go about, and to really just take in those last moments with my dad. The hospital staff was absolutely amazing. Like we had like a private family room. They brought in food for us. The social worker came in. They explained everything to us. We were able to kind of like, they had like these little like family trees type of things, and we were able to all put our thumbprints on the family tree, and she was able to use, she put some ink on my dad's thumb and put my dad's thumbprint on the family tree as well. So just doing little stuff like that, we were able to play music in the room for him to make it a comforting time and things like that. So that immediate, I guess, grieving process started right there at the hospital, and the hospital staff, like I said, was absolutely amazing. But in the days and the weeks leading up past that, we did immediately start grief counseling because we knew that that was something that we were going to need. Not just because the magnitude of losing a parent, but in the way that he died.
It happened, yes.
And so we, oh my goodness, we did grief counseling for like a year almost. And I tried not to bribe too much into what my brother was discussing in his session, because I know that was intimate, I know that was private. But you could just see the growth that Sean had, and myself, and my grandfather. My grandfather even went to grief counseling as well.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And I think all of us being able to go to grief counseling and kind of just talk those feelings out, because a lot of us had a lot of guilt. A lot of us felt that maybe if we would have done something different, maybe if we could have did something more, maybe if we would have, answered a phone call, or maybe if we wouldn't have said something the way that we did. We just all had so much guilt within ourselves. And I think some of us may still be dealing with a little bit of guilt. But I think that grief counseling really, really helped to allow us to see like a full perspective of the whole situation. And I remember specifically my therapist told me, because I was angry at my dad, like, well, why would you do this? Why would you put our family through this predicament? And I remember my therapist said to me, well, if he had passed away from the cancer, would you have been mad at him? And I said, no. And she said, you have to look at this depression as a disease.
It's a sickness.
It's an illness.
It's a sickness.
And some people who don't quite understand the magnitude of depression, they think it's just having a bad day or just being dramatic.
Right.
And that's not what it is. Depression is a disease. It's an illness.
It's real.
And so I think when she was able to put it in those type of terms, I was like, oh wow, you're right. He was sick. This isn't something that he chose just for the sake of it. And knowing my dad and knowing how much he loved us, he would never want to put us through something like that. And so having those type of conversations, oh my goodness, was extremely helpful in the weeks and the months after my dad's passing.
Right. But he's doing good, right? As far as mental wise, and then with him dealing with it, he's good.
Yeah, and even still, with the stigma of mental health in the Black community, I had to sit down and have a very serious conversation with my brother, being a Black male himself, and just let him know, just because we're going to counseling, just because we're going to see a therapist, doesn't mean that anything's wrong with us. Doesn't mean that we're sick. And there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with expressing your feelings. There's nothing wrong with going out and talking to somebody and asking for help. And so I just wanted to make sure that my brother understood that as, like I said, as a Black male, and also coming from a family where depression does run in our family. I just wanted him to know that. And then also to let him know, like I'm your sister. It's just us two. We don't have any other siblings, we're all with God. So if you ever, if there's a moment where you're struggling with something with Dad's passing, like, or if you have a question, like, come to me, I'm here to help you. And also I wanted to let him know, if I'm struggling with something about Dad, like, I'll reach out to you and talk to you just so we can have that open dialogue. So neither one of us feels alone, because he was both of our dads.
Yes, exactly. That's right. And so then let's talk about the PTSD, because I know a lot of people associate that only with veterans coming back from Iran, or, just seeing the gruesome stuff but with war and fighting the enemy. But, you went through, I went through, you're going through the PTSD. So let's talk about the PTSD syndrome right now.
So it's been a little over 2 years since my dad passed. He died in 2017, July 2017. And it wasn't until a year after when I started to see some other side effects. Like, I noticed I would have anxiety when somebody called me. Like, if my mom called me, or if my grandmother called me, or if my grandfather called me, or if anybody called me, I'm pressed to answer the phone. Or if somebody called me, like, at a really weird time of the day, early in the morning or late at night, I'm pressed, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, because, being out the country and receiving that type of phone call, it really does something to your brain. You just never know what's on the other side of that phone call. And so just experiencing extreme anxiety with phone calls, experiencing extreme anxiety from just being so consumed in my thoughts, like the shoulda, coulda, wouldas type of thing. I remember one morning I woke up and I felt like I was having an extreme panic attack. Like, I couldn't even breathe because I was so overwhelmed with the thoughts of everything. And this was a year after, I had already finished my grief counseling. And then also, being out in public, I would see a car like the one my dad had, and I'll be looking in the car to see if it's my dad, or I would be out in public and I would see a man who had a similar physique as my dad, and I would literally go out of my way to look at that man's face, knowing that my dad physically is not here on this earth, but my brain, for whatever reason, cannot figure that out, and I'm still searching for my dad here physically on this earth. And those type of things I knew was not normal. I knew that was not normal. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with a former coworker who had experienced something traumatic herself. She was talking to me about her going through traumatic counseling. And I was like, maybe I should look into that for myself. And for me, it was so, so helpful, because the traumatic counseling, it goes past just your regular grief. It really digs deep into figuring out what are your triggers. How are those triggers affecting your everyday life? Also, for me, I couldn't be in the garage. My dad took his life in a garage. I couldn't be in a garage. I would literally park my car in the garage and get right out. I didn't want to do anything in the garage. I didn't want to have to go put something in the recycling bin. So trying to figure out what those triggers were, and how to identify them and try to find ways to maneuver around those. And thank God I'm in a place now where I don't experience that anxiety. I'm not going out of my way to, look at a man's face. I haven't done that, in quite a while, which is really good, looking back on it. And even still, I was at a place where I wasn't able to look at pictures of my dad, no matter how old he was in the picture, whether it was a picture of him as a baby, picture of him, closer to the end of his life. I couldn't look at pictures of him. And I remember during my traumatic counseling, one of my goals was to be able to put up a picture of my dad in my house. And actually, just maybe like 3 weeks ago, I was able to put up a picture in me and my husband's living room. It was a picture of me and my dad. And so all of this made me learn that grieving is not just a moment in time. It's not just something that you do in the days and the months after somebody passes. It's not something that you deal with within that first year of all the first, the first birthday, first Christmas, first Thanksgiving, and the first anniversary of their passing. It's something that you will struggle with further on in your life. And that's okay. And you learn mechanisms to kind of just cope with those feelings, to feel those feelings.
Right. That's what I was going to talk about next. The first of everything, like his first birthday, October the 14th, his birthday rolls around, and that first birthday, it's like, you don't send a message to Brad. I don't send a message to Brad.
Yeah.
It's his birthday. Those type of feelings came about. So I know if I thought that, I'm sure. And it's like you just got married and your dad wasn't there to walk you down the aisle. So that had to be a struggle. It had to be tough for you too.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
let's talk about that as well.
Those things are still really challenging. And I knew, not having my dad to walk me down the aisle, I knew that was going to be challenging. I knew not having a father-daughter dance, I knew that was going to be challenging. But in that moment, I was just so appreciative of having my grandfather in my life. I've always been super close to my grandparents, but God, the way that me and my grandfather have bonded and just how close we have become. And I just love talking to my papa because some of the things he says is the exact same things that my dad says and things like that. So I took a lot of joy and a lot of comfort in knowing that my grandfather is on this earth to walk me down the aisle and to feel like a grandfather, granddaughter, first dance. Yeah. But, those firsts are still challenging. And even still, my dad's birthday just passed like a few weeks ago. And I got so caught up in wanting to do something for his birthday. I think me and Ashawn were supposed to go to the movies. But we were like running late and the movie ended up selling out. And I started crying. I got upset. And my husband caught on to me getting upset about it. He was like, well, let's just go get some ice cream. And sorry.
I'm going back. That's right.
But I had to sit and ask myself, why did you get upset about that? Why did you get upset that the movies were sold out? And I think it was because I had put so much pressure on myself to just do something and acknowledge that day. I didn't want to just not do anything and acknowledge my dad on that day. But I have to remember, that my dad is a part of me and he lives in me, and that's okay, And you start to, I call it my new normal. You find a new way to do things, so you don't have to do something elaborate, every birthday or whatever the case may be. You just celebrate him in the best way that you know how at that moment.
Right. And then I know, like the first Thanksgiving, first Christmas, you guys all came together as a family. Did you go to, was it Florida? You went to Heather's house for those two holidays, and so you all could be together.
Yeah, that Thanksgiving, we knew that we all needed to be together, for sure, because we knew it was going to be tough. So we all decided to go to Florida where my Aunt Heather lives, and we were all together, and it felt so good just to be around, my grandfather and my aunts and everything like that. It just felt so good. And then that Christmas, my grandmother, my mom's mom, came into town, and my husband actually ended up proposing on Christmas Day as well. So just having those things to kind of just help cope through those moments have been really, really helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. And so let's talk about the article, because you wrote an article, which is very, 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 very moving. I mean, I have tissue beside me right now just in case I need them, but your article was very emotional, you just exposed everything, and it was just so good. So let's talk about that article that you wrote and why you wrote it. Why did you write the article?
Yeah, so I knew it was something that I have been wanting to share for a while. People who were close to me knew how my dad passed, but there was a lot of people who didn't know. They just knew that my dad passed. And it wasn't that I was keeping a secret. I wasn't ashamed of how my dad passed. I wanted people to know.
Okay.
And so once I was finally able to get a grip and handle my feelings, I knew that I wanted to share what I have been going through in the past year or so. And so I just put it out. It was very raw. And I think some family members even took offense to it because I mentioned, people call you when they check up on you in the days and the weeks after, and then it gets to a point where nobody calls you and nobody checks up on you. And I wasn't saying that to offend anybody, but it's the God honest truth,
It's the truth.
For other people who weren't that close with my dad, it was easy for them to kind of just move on because they're not around it, But for me, it wasn't that easy. And my family and I, we were left to really deal with the hardships of what had just transpired. But yeah, and then just talking about my anxiety, talking about my grief counseling and my PTSD, and talking about my traumatic counseling and things like that. I just wanted to share that. And oh my goodness, so many people reached out and they were like, oh my goodness, I wish I would have had this article when my parent passed. Oh my goodness, I still go through the same things and my parent passed 5 years ago, or oh my goodness, my parent just passed a few weeks ago, and this has been so amazing, this has been so helpful, or, thanks for sharing this insight, now I know how to help my friend who's going through something similar. But I know that it's very important to share your story, not for yourself, but to help other people get through.
Exactly. So you touched a lot of people, even myself. I was reading I'm like, oh my God, this is what, even though, you experience death in so many different ways, but to lose somebody through suicide, and like you said, the way he did it,
right.
The hanging in the garage, and,
right.
Like I'm sure, like you said, going out into that garage, every time going out there, visualizing
right.
your father, it's like, that had to be so traumatic. And then for you to write about that,
yeah.
And like you say, it's not something, even though shame and guilt and all of that is a part of, going through the process, the healing process,
yeah.
right? But you can't, but we can't keep blaming ourselves. We can't keep blaming ourselves. So what did we miss? What did we not see? Yes, Brad was a jokester. Like we said, he was a jokester.
Yeah.
He would walk in a room and just make you laugh, like my mother's birthday parties. And that's one emptiness right there. All of her birthday parties, your dad
yeah.
had to sing her a song every time. He had a song dedicated. Not that he was the greatest of singers. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
He had a song for his grandmother.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the that happy times with your dad.
Yeah.
Such as moments like that.
Growing up, I was definitely a daddy's girl. Like, being my parents' first kid, and I mean, I knew that I was the light of my dad's eyes, but everybody else would tell me that too. And I remember we would just ride out together, and we would just do whatever. Like, when I tell you I had my dad in the palm of my hands growing up, whatever I wanted, like, he was down for it. I remember, like, one morning, because my dad used to love pancakes, cooking breakfast on the weekends, so that was his thing. And so he would make me pancakes that would spell out my name, or he would make like a Mickey Mouse pancake. And then it came like, well, I want to make pancakes with you. And so he had got me like this little some little cheap spatula. And as I was like flipping over a pancake, I think I had burned my hand, like, and barely burned it. Like, I think I may have just like touched it a little bit. And so, like, me being a little girl and just being so dramatic, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do anything. And so I remember he literally like carried me out of the kitchen in his arms like this, and like laid me out on the couch and had my arm popped up and all this other stuff, and just little things like that, like, my dad always made me laugh. Like, my dad, his nickname for me was Miqua. Like, I don't know where he got that from, but he was just silly. Like, he just went with it. He just flowed with it. He had a nickname for everybody. And so, it's, as I get older, I just look back on all the great things, that I loved about my dad, from his personality, for his love of music. He listened to all kind of music. You could get in a car with him. He could be playing hip hop. He could be playing gospel. He could be playing R&B. He could be playing country. He could be playing EDM music. Whatever he wanted to do. I mean, he was just a lover of all music. And I think somebody said, didn't her dad work for NASCAR? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. We're going to talk about that.
He was the first black man as a part of the pit crew. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
And so there was a bunch of articles written on him.
Yes.
About that as well. And just seeing him, go out and chase his dreams was just so beautiful.
Dreams. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I actually still have some of those things. Like, I had like his race suit, I still have his helmet, and I actually cut out a piece of his race suit into like the shape of a heart, and I had it sewn into my wedding dress actually.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to ask? That was one of the things I was going to talk about, him moving from Columbus to Charlotte to chase that dream of NASCAR.
Yeah.
And making that happen for you guys. So, yeah. And I'm sure, just living that dream out was just so important to him. He had to do it. It was just a dream that he had a long time, that he was going to be in NASCAR.
Yeah.
And he did. He lived it out. Yeah. So do you have any comments about that? Any memories about
when he started
being
with NASCAR,
out there in the pit?
When he started with NASCAR, I was still relatively young.
So young. Yeah, you were young when you guys moved.
And I remember he was just like constantly on the road, because they had races, almost like every weekend. So he was constantly on the road. But there was a lot of times like where they had the races here in Charlotte where my family would come down and we would go to the racetrack and we got to meet, you know, the drivers and some of the other pit crew members and things like that. And, you know, you see that stuff through the screen, but to be there around it, it's really like an adrenaline rush. I can see how my dad really enjoyed it. But like I said, I was still young, and so I didn't really get to go to a lot of the races and things like that. But I mean, just to know that your dad, you know, not only followed his passion, but he was breaking barriers. I know, you know, NASCAR in itself is an entity that's comprised of mostly white men. And so to be able to walk into your dream and to break those type of barriers and to know that my father did that, it's beautiful. It's inspiring in itself.
Yeah. Exactly. That's awesome. That is so amazing. Like I said, we have so many great memories. About Brad is what we called him, Brad, named after his father, your papa, and he was just an amazing young man. I mean, he loved, like with my grandfather, your great grandfather, his grandfather, my dad passed away. Your dad had to have so many things like his fedoras. He wanted his hats. He wanted my dad's hat. He wanted like we call them wife beaters.
Yeah.
So Brad had to have those. He took some of those with him as his memories, and he was just, you know, he loved my dad.
Oh,
he loved him.
I was actually,
and then got to turn it.
I was talking to Aunt Dorothy. So for the guys on the call, that's but another one of Aunt Susie's sisters. I was talking to her on the phone maybe like 2 nights ago. And she was just telling me, you know, like, your dad used to love to ride out with your great-grandfather. Like, anytime he went out to go run his errands or do his business and stuff like that, your dad was
in that truck.
Right there beside him.
In that truck.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. And then he, you know, like summertime, I think you guys were living in Charlotte, maybe in Columbus too. He would come down to Kingsport in the summer just so that he could work alongside to learn the Turner paving business. Even though, you know, your grandfather, your papa did start a Turner asphalt business here in Columbus. He and your dad together didn't last very long because they were both too busy. They were too busy to actually put the time in to do it. But I'm just saying, he loved my dad, your great grandfather. He loved him. Yes, he did.
He was a true family man for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been very good, Amaya. This has been very good. Just to hear, first of all, to see you, because I haven't seen you in a while, but to see you here. Are you coming to the party?
Yep, I'll be
November?
There on Thursday, Thanksgiving, and all the way through the weekend.
Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be good. Like I said, it's going to be another time where Brad would have gotten up to do his musicals, to do his jokes, but we'll get through it as we always do.
Yes.
Yeah, so this has been really good. You touched a lot of people. A lot of people out there said that they've gone through the same things, that they wish they had you in their lives at the time that they went through it too. Right. So some of the emotions that you expressed, you know, it just happened. Everybody goes through those of losing somebody. So it's been really good. So yes, Dr. Trey, I will remind Amaya to save and share.
Yes.
So when you end this, make sure you save it and share it, so it's out there. It'll be out there for 24 hours, and I can get it, and I can record it and put it up on YouTube. This conversation will be out there forever on my YouTube channel. So thank you, Shakira. So powerful. Thank you both. This was so good. Thank you, Shakira. We appreciate that. And Amaya, thank you. Go out and make your Saturday the best Saturday you've ever had. That's how I like to close my sessions out. So tell Sean I say hello and that I love him, and I look forward to seeing him too next month.
All right.
All right?
Thanks, everybody, for
okay, have a great one. Thank you.
Love you.